Okay, we're going to get started. Am I on camera? We're all good? All right. So Dr. Ray is back with us for the last session of the day. Isn't that a great way to end our conferences to last 2 days?
Wonderful.
So I don't know about you. He said I didn't have to read the huge bio of him again. So I just want to get off the thing and introduce him because I want to hear another 45 minutes or more stuff. Your talk this morning was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yes.
This really made me laugh so hard.
You laugh so hard, I peed myself.
I'm sorry, I didn't say it, but that's what would have happened. All right, so without further ado, Dr. Ray.
Thank you.
Well, this isn't exactly anger, but I did kind of promise you I would do a little bit of this. There are certain ideas that are so stupid. And by the way, you know, homeschoolers do this all the time. They'll call the TV show or the radio show, and we don't say stupid. I watched the sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond. Okay? There was one scene, and this is my Italian Catholic family, there was one scene where they were yelling and screaming at each other, saying all kinds of vile things, and then Marie, the mother, says to Raymond, "Don't be stupid." He goes, "We don't say stupid." Some things are so dumb. Only, by the way, I did get a chastising email because I said that once on the radio. I said, "Well, that's stupid." And I got this letter. "We don't teach our children to say stupid." I go, "What do you do when something is stupid? You have children. You should know." That's why these guys will say, "No such thing as a dumb question." You don't have any kids, do you? All kinds of dumb questions. Those of you who have a number of children, you realize that this idea that there are no differences between little boys and little girls is ridiculous. We're wired different. God says it. Human history says it. The research says it. Example. Little girls, women, are more verbal than little boys, men. Right, Doc? They talk earlier, they talk better, they talk longer. That's why if a mom drifts into a discipline trap, usually something along these lines. Talk, talk, nag, nag, repeat, repeat, negotiate. Talk, talk, nag, nag, repeat, repeat, negotiate. If a dad drifts into a discipline trap, it's usually something along these lines. Tolerate, tolerate, oblivious, oblivious, ignore, ignore, kill! Tolerate, tolerate, oblivious, tolerate, tolerate. You ladies are amazing. You're truly amazing. We guys do not understand how you do this. How is it that you notice everything about everybody at all times, forever, to be used upon him, who gets to a point in his life, if he even notices you're out there, he gets extra credit.
Poor guy.
Hey guys, it's the last time one of our buddies did this to us. I go, Rob, Max. You guys notice anything different about me?
You have a tie.
Yes, it's true. One time my wife had I have 5 boys and 5 estrogen Americans. She had the girls with her in the big van. I had the boys with me. She pulls up next to me at the light and does this. I don't know why you're so sensitive, too. I mean, women just feel. My little girls would come downstairs before Mass. Sarah, what's the matter? Sarah, it's 25 feet from your bed to here. What could possibly have upset you in that distance? Okay, fine. This is touching me right here. I don't like the way this touches me right here. My socks are twisted. They got strings on them, and they won't stay in the string. My voice will come down. James, is that pee on your shirt?
Cover it up so
You see it now, Dad? My wife is a convert to the Catholic faith. She had a tough time with confession. Now, she understood the theology, but she couldn't get it through her head that when you go to confession, you got to confess your own sins, not your husband's. Bless me, Father, for Ray has sinned. She made her first confession when she was 39. Now, guys, you read these marriage books, what do they tell you? They all say the same thing. Go up on your knees for your wife. All right, I'm going to do that. She goes into that confessional, I get on my knees. And I stayed there the whole time. So I took a week off from work. She came out. Honey, what do you think? Oh, you're right, Ray. I feel pretty clean. Good. Good. So, what'd you tell Father? I'm not going to tell you that. You can tell me. You're not bound by the seal. You can tell me. I'm not telling you, Ray. All right, I figured it out. If you want to know what your spouse or your kid tells the priest in the confessional, you got to go in the back door. So, honey, what did Father give you for penance? Oh. If you know what they got for penance, I mean, you can kind of reason backward to how rock gut they were. She said, I guess I could tell you that. I got a rosary. A rosary? That's not bad for 40 years of pagan muck. She said, with the stations of the cross at every bead. Oh. I kind of wish she'd have told me that before I married you. I still got to kiss you? Maybe I ought to boil you first. Then she asked me, okay, Ray, what do you usually get for penance?
Half the price.
Me? Half a sign of the cross. Sometimes a quarter. That's hardly enough time to levitate. So you come here because of your anger issues. You ever notice that's the phrase they use? He has anger management issues. What a piece of psychopath. Anger management issues. You mean he's got a temper? Or he's irritable? Okay. But we psychologize it. She has an emotional dysregulation. It sounds so special. He has explosive personality disorder. You mean he's a jerk?
His name is Charles Manson.
Yeah. People think anger is an emotion. If you ask folks, what's anger? Oh, that's a pretty powerful emotion.
Isn't it?
Anger is as much thought as it is emotion. Let me illustrate to you how powerful your thoughts are in creating your emotions. Picture the scenario. You're at one of these sheltered bus stops. It's cold, it's raining, it's a sleeting rain, it's blowing in on you. Very uncomfortable. You're jammed in like sardines with everyone, like this. You're getting impatient. You start feeling in the back of your leg, your calf, somebody's jabbing you. Feels very much like the point of an umbrella. It's like, ow, ow, ow. You're letting it go. You're trying to control yourself. You don't want to get too angry here. You're trying to control yourself. You're thinking to yourself, what's going on here? Now, if I were to stop the tape right there and say, why are you getting so mad? Well, because some jumboke think it's an idea of fun to jab me in the calf. Okay, that's why you're getting mad, right? All right. It continues. You've had enough. You turn around, you're going to let whoever it is have it.
It's your wife.
It is an elderly blind woman with a cane, trying to keep herself oriented in this mass of bodies. What happens to your anger? Do you have to go, oh, you're lucky you're blind and elderly, I punched you dead in the head. No. Your anger immediately goes away. It is gone. You told me you were mad because you were getting poked. That's not why you were mad. You were mad because of your interpretation of the poke. As soon as you reinterpreted it, and you believed your reinterpretation, your anger immediately dissolved. I submit to you that much of your anger is your interpretation of events. Example. My kids frustrate me. My kids just frustrate me. What are you telling yourself about this? You see, if you're saying to yourself, my kid's bad behavior makes me look bad, makes me feel like a failure, you're going to get much more upset than you otherwise would if you just looked at your kid and said, he's being a kid, he's acting like a jerk. I mean, you may not like that he's doing this, but you're not going to get quite that angry. Or, your kid has just stolen a Matchbox car from Target. By the way, the other night I tried to walk into Target, but I missed. Just stolen a Matchbox car. You are fit to be tough. You are so mad you can't see straight. Why are you so mad? He took a Matchbox car. He's 7 years old. Okay, he's got no conscience. Why are you so angry? Why? Because you're worried. Is he going to be stealing real cars 20 years from now? See, if you don't stop this, what could it mean? You see what you're doing? You're interpreting the child's behavior in such a way that you're making a lot more out of it than it really is. This is bad behavior. This is a kid, but you're adding interpretations to it. Had a lady come into my office. She was 35 years old. Near suicide. Absolutely devastated. Just found out that her husband of 15 years, 18 years, they had 2 kids, left her for the 21-year-old babysitter. Now, this woman, we shall call her Barb, essentially said, I don't know how I can go on. I'm done. Now, we spent a 3-hour session there because she was on the edge. Why was she so distraught? One, she interpreted this as, hey, I don't want to be a single mom. Well, that's reasonable, that's legit. 2, I thought he loved me. How could this be? 3, I'm scared. I never thought I'd be in this position in my life. Okay, therefore, that's why she's going to commit suicide. Absolutely not. Here's why she was going to commit suicide. Obviously, I'm a failure as a wife. He wouldn't do this if something wasn't wrong with me. Totally irrational. This could be completely the guy's problem. 2, there was only one person for you in your life. I had my one person and I lost him. Failure in the past. But here's the one that got her. Her religion taught her, she was not Catholic, if you get divorced, you're going to hell. Now, failure in the past, no future on earth, when you die, you're going to hell. Well, you might as well just end it now if that's the way you're looking at things. That's what was driving her to that point, her interpretation of the event. Many of you have people in your lives that drive you crazy. Okay, think of your spouse if you have to. One of the things that bothers you about these folks is that they're either opinionated, they say goofy things, and they don't stop. They've been doing this for 22 years.
40.
And this is something that you just, when you think you're getting it under control, she says something else. Now, the way you're interpreting this person is this. She has no right to do this to me. I'm not like that. Who does she think she is? Talk about not looking at yourself in the mirror. The very thing she's accusing me of, she does 3 times. What we do is we take what they're doing to us and we allow it over time to get us more and more upset. Because she is not changing her personality. What is with this woman? Now, by the way, it is more often women who make comments on your parenthood. You know this. That's why they don't tell too many father-in-law jokes.
Oh my.
Your interpretation of what she's doing is driving you nuts. Rather than saying, gee, I've known her for 17 years. She's always been this way. She's opinionated. She's judgmental. She's snotty. She makes her little snarky remarks off to the side, or her looks. By the way, you know teenage girls doing this kind of scrap? Now, I don't want to digress too far. However, this is not respectful. Girls, this is not respectful. See, the shrinks tell you nutty things like, pick your battles. Don't get too frustrated. Pick your battles. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What they basically mean is, okay, don't let them cuss at you. But if they roll their eyes and say, yeah, right, Mom, whatever, just ignore it. Well, wait a minute. Now, that's demeaning. That's disrespectful. It truly is. Now, a lot of times, you know what you women say? You do this. Well, I know that I go round and round with her, and she's pretty snotty with me. Everybody else loves her. They think she's a great kid. All right, do a little test. If you're taking satisfaction in the idea that your kid treats other people good, and that makes them a nice kid, picture the scenario. Some woman comes up to you that you don't know and says, can I speak to you a second, please?
Oh, God.
I work with your husband. I have to tell you, he is the sweetest, the kindest, the most positive person. The women there love him because he never scolds. He's never impatient. He is always so kind to all of us. You must have a wonderful marriage. Now, of course, if he's that way with you, you say, well, yeah, I do. He's a gem. If he's not, you don't say, well, I'm really glad he treats other women good. That makes me feel good. No, this is not good. So, in a sense, the #1 reason that people irritate and frustrate you is because you want them to be different. A great definition of frustration is, it is the difference between the way I want it to be and the way it is. And as this gap gets bigger, you get more frustrated. I have to tell you, I have decided I am 99.9999999% loving. I truly am. Because I've done the math. There are approximately 7 billion people in the world. The vast majority of them, I have no problem loving. I love all the people in China, all the people in India, all the folks in South America, Africa too, throw in Europe. Those folks have done nothing to me. I'm very loving to those folks. It's that handful of people, there's only about 5 or 6 of them, that live near me, or live under my roof, or I have to see on Christmas Eve. Now, really, by the numbers, that's 99.99999% loving. I'm a quite loving guy. All right? It's just my cousin. Just my sister-in-law. It's just my half-brother. It's just my grandma. Why is this? because I want them to be different. If you listen to the radio show at all, and some of you don't, because I can tell that you just don't look it. You look like you're failing IQ-wise.
I don't know how to do it on radio.
You're slipping. But if you listen to the radio show, listen to what percentage of calls are, tell me how to make somebody be different.
Good luck.
Tell me how to make my husband not be so moody. Tell me how to make my children be more appreciative of me.
Good luck.
Tell me how to make my mother quit criticizing my homeschooling. And so what happens is you are automatically going to get upset. You can't change them. You cannot change them. Well, can't you just reason with them? How many years have you been trying? Are you a slow learner? When are you going to give it up here, Kira? A large part of our agitation, frustration, irritation is because you are not acting the way I want you to act. You know what personalization is? Personalization is probably the #1 reason why people get upset. Personalization is what they're doing is directed at me. She's criticizing my homeschooling because she's putting me down. He's moody because he doesn't love me like I deserve. We personalize it. We take it in terms of what they're doing. The motive is to somehow reflect upon me, to somehow put me down, to somehow hurt me, to somehow make me feel bad, to somehow agitate me. Most of the time, it's not that. You're misinterpreting it. What they're doing for a whole bunch of other reasons that may have absolutely nothing to do with you. They're jerks. Or they're narrow-minded, they're unpleasant, or they're moody, or they're frustrated. But it has nothing to do with you. Parents will say that. She's acting up just to make me look bad. And I'll say, you know, Mom, I don't think she even cares what you look like. I think she just wants to do what she wants to do, and you just happen to be in the way. Now, if she upsets you in the process, that's a bonus. Because her main motive is not to get to you, her main motive is to do what she wants. But we interpret it this way. I will ask clients in my office, when's the last time either one of you said, I'm sorry? Typically I get answers like this.
2 years.
Well, when my son was in preschool. How old's your son? Oh, he's a lawyer. Our wedding rehearsal dinner. I remember I spilled some soup on her lap and I said, sorry about that. They typically don't say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry is 2 of the softest, smallest words in the English language, and they are 2 of the words that people use least. And they are wonderful words for when you act wrong. When you get angry, when you get moody, when you get upset, say, I'm sorry. Now, why don't we? There's a lot of reasons. For example, you're sorry? Sorry doesn't make everything right, okay? If you're sorry, why don't you change? Sorry is not just words. Sorry is a change in conduct. All right? How would you like to go to confession? Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. And then you tell him, and he says, you know, you're truly sorry, you changed. You come in here and you say the same stuff all the time. I'm not really going to absolve you, because I really don't think you're sorry. All right? If you were truly sorry, you wouldn't be telling me the same stuff for 10 years. Oh, no. We want mercy for me, justice for you. Okay? So we don't want to get thrown back in our face. I'm sorry. Or, here's another big worry when people don't want to say I'm sorry. We just had a fight. I said things I shouldn't have said, but in my mind, you started it. Right? So if you started it, I am justified in whatever I say and do in response because I didn't start it, you did. If I say I'm sorry to her, where in my mind, I'm only 12% wrong. She's 88. I'm 12. Okay? I said 2 cuss words, but she was just a total she-witch. Okay, the whole time. But I said 2 cuss words because I just couldn't take it anymore. If I say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Am I worried that she's going to think, good, it's about time he realized who was the one that was wrong here. See, when I say I'm sorry for my 12%, I'm afraid she's going to take it that I'm apologizing for the whole fault. Just apologize for what you did. If you erupted on a kid for discipline, apologize for the eruption, don't apologize for the discipline. And if the kid interprets that as, well, mom realizes she's wrong, no such thing. He may interpret it that way, but you're not apologizing for being wrong, you're apologizing for your style. Okay? Here's the big one in marriages. You gotta watch this. Okay. I might have hurt my wife's feelings, I might have said things I shouldn't have said. I may not have said I'm sorry, but I act I'm sorry. I start being nice again. I say things like, honey, did you want me to pick that up for you? I do that with my wife. We go to these homeschooling conferences. Dr. Guarendi, a homeschooling father of 10. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did my share. 4 years ago, one of the kids dropped a pencil. I said, honey, you want me to pick that up for you? I do my part.
Pencil.
We act sorry. Why don't we say sorry? It's so easy to start acting okay again. And that's my way of telling you that, okay, it's all forgotten, let's just move on. Why? I'm sorry is the best way to do damage control with your anger and your temper and your agitation, your irritation, and your frustration. I tell it like it is. You know when a client says that to me, you know what I say to them? You tell it like it is? Or do you tell it like you think it is? You see, we have this idea that my perception of things is reality. Remember when you were in school? You got this question that messed up your head. If a tree falls in the woods, and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, by the way, it doesn't. I know some of you homeschooling moms who are brilliant in English, but you know nothing about physics. You're looking at me like, what? It doesn't make a sound. All it does is move air molecules. If there's nothing there to receive it, there's no interpretation of the sound. Right now, all around you are literally hundreds of different waves. If you had a radio, you could tune them in, but you can't hear them because you don't have something to receive them, but they're there. There is a modern gender counterpart to this, by the way. If a man is in the woods, all alone, and there are no women there to hear him speak, if he speaks, is he still wrong?
Oh, God.
The women are looking at him like, duh. I may not say it, but I act it. Say it. If you're like me, your most regrettable moments, the things you've said, the things you've done, occurred at a peak surge of emotion. Yeah, I used to play a lot of sports. I don't too much anymore, now I'm the old guy on the mound. I got one of those life alert things, you know? So when I slide into second base, I start to push him. So my friends come up, pick me up. I used to play a lot of sports, and one of the biggest problems you have in sports when you're a guy is your testosterone, okay? And I've often wrestled with, am I getting holier as I get older, or is my testosterone dying? It's a lot easier for me not to get as mad as I used to get, you know? And I think maybe that's just because I'm lazy. I'm not so sure it's God's grace. I think it's just the testosterone levels down here somewhere, you know. And in sports, especially something like basketball. Basketball is the kind of game where bodies are crashing against each other. You know, even not supposed to be a contact sport, but it is. And in basketball, I mean, there's times when I was younger, man, I threw a ball at a guy's head, you know. Or, for example, you're in a situation in the sports. Well, all right, I'll confess. And this wasn't that long ago. This was last season. Playing softball. Bottom of the seventh. Church league. I'm coaching third. Third baseman's a turkey, man. This guy's more of a head case that you'd want to see. He's always been a problem. He said something nutty. I said, learn the rules. You don't know the rules. I'll take you out! Just like that. Just like that. Now, of course, me being a professional psychologist, someone who can diffuse situations, I said, I wouldn't do that. Oh, that was it, man. That was waving a red flag in front of a ball. Next guy up hits a foul ball off to the side. I'm coaching third. He's right there. I do this. To watch the ball. He charges me. Hits me in the back with everything he's got. I didn't even see it coming. Just everything he's got. At that point, my brother, who lifts weights and is much stronger than I am, well, basically came across the field and took him out. Just flat out took him out. And of course, all hell broke loose. Their bench is cleared. My brother and I are on the bottom of like 12 guys. Okay, till our wussy friends started showing up. We're down here trying to throw off bodies, and there's tons of them. And then our friends are going, did you need help? Anyway, I have my good job. I got my good pants on. So in sports, you lose it. I learned early on in sports, you know about the near occasion of sin? I learned early on in sports, pull myself out. Before I get to that point where I have to try to control my emotions, get out of there. Same thing with words. 90% of what you say that you should be sorry for or regret is because you said it in that peak window of your nastiest emotion where you feel like you just have to say something. If you can stop yourself for 20 seconds to simply say nothing for 20 seconds, half or more of the urge to blow will subside. The emotion will drop from here to here, and you won't feel so uncontrolled. I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to say something, everything within me wanted to retaliate, and for whatever the reason, mostly because my wife is looking at me like you do, and I'll rip your face off. I didn't.